If I were buying in San Diego today and didn't want to get blindsided, here's exactly where people get it wrong and what I would do differently. In this video, I'm breaking down the real cost of owning a home in San Diego, the stuff that doesn't show up in the price list, and the surprises that hit you after you close. Hi, I'm Jennifer St. Clair, your host of Living in San Diego, and I help people relocate, invest, and not make expensive mistakes moving in and around San Diego County. So let's start with the one that hits people sideways, the supplemental tax bill. You buy a home, your payment looks clean and agreed upon, and then a bill shows up because in California, your taxes reset to your purchase price. If the seller owned that home for 20 years and was paying much lower taxes on a much lower value because of Prop 13 keeps 2% max increase, you're not gonna get that tax bill. You're not. You're gonna get billed the difference between the $2,000 he was paying and what your $10,000 is, the difference. That can come as a real shock to people if they're not aware of it. If they purchase a home that somebody's owned 30 or 40 years, that can be thousands and thousands of dollars. And for first-time home buyers, that's really shocking. So make sure that if your agent hasn't advised you about them, that you ask them about that. If they've only owned the home for a few years, then it's less of an issue because their taxes, if they purchased it a couple of years, would have reset last time they purchased it. So supplemental tax bill is number one. Now right behind that is Mello-Roos. Not every property has it, but when it does, it's not small. And what this is, it's an additional tax, often a few $1,000s a year, sometimes more, that buyers have to pay to build out the infrastructure around new subdivisions. It's common in new home areas, and it generally falls off after about 20 or 25 years, and generally it's paid on a monthly basis, divided up and added to your payments. So when your payment is calculated when you buy a home, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA, and Mello-Roos, that's a lot. If you're not aware of all those costs in your payment, you could be surprised. Mello-Roos does not change, it's a fixed fee. So Mello-Roos is something that you need to pay attention to, especially in newer areas. Now let's talk about one that's changing really fast, insurance. Wildfire zones, defensible space, carriers pulling back. I've had buyers get an estimate for one number and then they get something completely different from their bill. And I've seen people get coverage only to have it change weeks later, even before they've unpacked. There's a really big agent in Georgia who has hundreds of thousands of followers who just talked about how she got, after a month she bought a house in Dunwoody, Georgia, they canceled her insurance. And she's a real estate agent, completely blindsided by the cancellation in Georgia. Yeah, they're doing things like flying drones over your house now. If even people whose houses are estimated to be a 10-year roof. I had a house in Florida they canceled because I had cast iron in the home. I didn't actually have cast iron in the home, just the pipes from the roof out were cast iron, wasn't in the home. It was just touching the metal roof in Florida, and I still got canceled by that insurance. When you're dealing with insurance, you want to be very careful, inspect your home very carefully, find out anything that might affect that, proactively mitigate things that will impact your insurance being canceled or being increased. It's not a great surprise after you just bought a home to find out that you're now living house poor. Something you verify early, not after closing. You can't always control it, as I said, but you can do what you can up front. All right, now let's talk about HOAs and special assessments. If you're buying a condo or townhome, listen carefully. SB Senate Bill 326 is a California law requiring inspections of balconies and decks and elevated structures on townhomes and condos. I believe it's 3 stories or more, that you have to check the integrity of balconies and stairs mostly. And the first deadline was January 2025. The second one was January 2026. So what that's doing is exposing years of deferred maintenance and lack of reserves that have been put away. What is a reserve? When you have an HOA, you set aside money every month, you, the HOA management company, to maintain the common areas of your property. So it could be the roads, it could be repairing the roof, replacing the roof, painting the exterior. And what HOAs have done over the years is they've kicked the can down the road to future homeowners by not funding the reserves fully. And then what happens is when it comes to your needing to paint your whole complex, there's not enough money and they have to create what's called a special assessment, which is generally a one-time assessment that you can either pay up front and sometimes you can finance it, that is then added to your monthly payment. This is huge, people. I've talked about this in my video before where I had 2 condos in Florida and I got a special assessment of $100,000. That one hurt so bad. Anyway, just pay attention to Senate Bill 326 and its impact on high density. Many agents are still not well educated in this particular aspect of ownership in condos or townhomes in San Diego. Ask the right questions. You're the landlord now. This is where reality kicks in, rubber meets the road. When you own the home, you're the landlord. You're not calling the landlord up. And things happen. I had a buyer move into a condo. The first day there was a leak from the above unit into their bathroom. The first day, not the experience I wanted him to have. Another buyer pulled up flooring and found a hairline crack in their slab. They panicked. They called me up and blamed me. They literally said I should have known it was under that flooring. I kid you not. Sometimes buyers say the weirdest things when they get stressed out. I still don't hold it against them, but boy, that one really hurt. I gotta tell you, don't blame your agent for things they couldn't know. We're agents, we're not home inspectors. In reality, it wasn't a major issue, that hairline crack in their slab, but they didn't know that. Home inspectors are human, agents are human, they can miss things. In this case, a home inspector could not have known that there was a small crack in the slab under that flooring. You could only know by pulling up the flooring. So you don't rely on perfection, you plan for reality. Upgrade your washer and dryer hoses. The little things that you want to take care of so you don't have hidden surprises are buttoning up your house against water damage. Water damage is the #1 insurance claim. So this would look like sealing all of the grout and around your tub, around your sink so water doesn't intrude behind it, around the base of your toilet. Make sure you replace the wax ring under your toilet. Don't know what that is? Get on Home Depot. You can do it. They can help. It's like $200. It's really cheap, but if it leaks, especially in a condo, it costs a lot of money. How do I know? Don't ask. And it's gray water, so it's a nasty insurance claim. Dishwasher hoses, washer and dryer hoses, always steel braided, never rubber or plastic. Your supply lines to your toilets, all of those things, go in and button them up. They're pennies compared to what will happen if you have an insurance claim. So when you get your home inspection, you take that home inspection and go fix the things. I generally have a handyman that I hire and I send out after my buyers move in, pay for him for a couple hours to take their home inspection and go through and button up some of the things that were discovered. Because here's the reality. When you buy a house and you do a home inspection, that home inspection is not a laundry list of the seller to fix everything. It's just not. It is anything that's of material value that was discovered in the home inspection. You as a buyer have every right to ask for and negotiate. But you're not going to ask for a faceplate of a switch to be fixed or, things like that. If it's a safety, material hazard, things like that, that's how I counsel my buyers. Buyers have more negotiating power right now, but be prepared to just button those things up right when you move in, and then you don't have to worry about having insurance claims. And if you have any questions on any of this, just give me a call. I'm happy to walk you through it. And just to be clear, none of this is meant to scare you off from buying a home. It is meant to educate you, to make you the buyer who doesn't get surprised. That's the purpose of this video. So San Diego specific realities. Let's talk local, because not all areas have the same issues. You've got soil movement in certain areas of San Diego. You've got coastal regulations in other areas of San Diego. You've got canyon restrictions. I'll just add an ADU idea, accessory dwelling unit, granny flat. But what matters now is setbacks, utility access, and how the property is laid out, not just lot size. And what happens next door can impact your experience as well. Most of this doesn't show up in any listing. So what that means is when you buy a house, be careful of what your neighbor is doing. Are they putting in 2 or 3 extra dwellings that could possibly even be sold off? Is the density going to increase? Are you going to lose a lot of guest parking on the street? You got to pay attention. It's a real big issue right now in certain corridors of San Diego, and definitely can impact the experience you have in your own property. Now, the cost of your loan. Here's the one that almost nobody looks at. Let's say that you take out an $800,000 loan. That's a little below the average home cost here in San Diego. But at today's rate, you could pay close to another $1 million in interest over 30 years. Another $1 million. Most buyers never actually see that number because they're going to sell before the 30 years are up. But here's the flip side. Even a small extra payment or adjusting your loan with additional principal payments can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. It's very easy to accelerate payments on a loan and save a lot in interest. And most people think to make a double payment, if your payment is $2,000, that you have to make $4,000 to make a double payment. And that's completely incorrect. If you take an amortization table and your payment is $2,000, you'll find that $1,500 of it is interest and $500 is principal. This is just an example, obviously. If you want to make a double payment, all you have to do is pay an additional $500 and you just save $1,500 in interest. Let me say that again. You can accelerate your 30-year loan so that you save massive amounts of interest over the life of your loan. If you don't understand amortization tables and haven't had somebody sit you down and walk you through the psychology of accelerating your mortgage payments with principal, then that's something we can discuss. Now, caveat to that is you don't want to do that if you're going to be selling in a short period of time, and depending upon what your loan is. This is why our buyer consultation is so important with my buyers. I'm going to sit you down. We're going to talk about all of this. How long are you going to hold the house? What are your dreams and your goals and your ideas of life in the future, and interest rates currently and things like that? Strategy, can you hold this property and move up to another one? Would your goal to be sell it and move to a bigger one? And then I can counsel you. I always tell my buyers about the amortization table hack because that'll save them tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another hidden cost is closing costs. It's an upfront cost and it is beyond your down payment on your home loan. Most buyers are looking at roughly 1 to 3% of the purchase price in closing costs. That's a number that catches people off guard if they're not planning for it. You can ask a seller to contribute. You can have your loan restructured that some of those closing costs are covered in the loan. So don't let it stop you. In a lot of areas, especially in San Diego City and certain counties and opportunity zones and things like that, they actually have grants and down payment assistance and closing cost assistance as well. So don't let that scare you off. It's just a hidden cost. If you were saving for a down payment that you need to be aware of, you have your closing costs as well. What kind of comments or conversations do other agents tell me their buyers say to them? I didn't realize insurance would change like that. I didn't realize the HOA could hit me like that. I didn't realize how much maintenance there actually was owning my own home. I didn't realize location mattered this much. I don't get those comments from my clients because I do buyer consultations with them, so it's rare, and if that comment does happen, it's mostly because we cover so much that it's hard to ingest all of it. If your agent hasn't done a consultation and gone over these things, it's something you want to cover. None of this stuff is actually rare. It's just not talked about a lot, especially in fluffy YouTube videos. As you guys, if you've been watching me a while, you know my videos aren't always fluffy. I'm pretty direct and hard-hitting. I'm blunt truth with balance, right? I mean, that's the way it should be. So real estate is still one of the most reliable ways to build wealth long-term. San Diego especially has strong demand, limited supply, and long-term appreciation. But this is not something that you want to wing. You don't need to know everything, but you do need to know what to look for. Here's how you protect yourself. Understand your full cost, not just the purchase price. Verify insurance early. Check for Mello-Roos. Review your HOA documents thoroughly. Plan ahead for maintenance. Look at the long-term cost of your loan, not just the payment. And work with someone who walks you through all this before you buy. not after. If you're thinking about relocating to San Diego or moving up or buying, if you're already here and you're renting and you think it's time for you to get out, you can download my free relocation guide. My relocation guide breaks down the neighborhoods and all of that. It's perfectly free, no cost. It's also in the top pinned comment below. Book a call with me. We'll help you do it right the first time. I actually answer my phone, so feel free to pick it up and give me a call. Question of the day. What is one cost of home ownership that surprised you or that you're trying to plan for now, like a new roof or air conditioning or something like that? Drop it in the comment below. I do try to read every comment. So if I were buying in San Diego today, I wouldn't just focus on the price. I'd focus on the full cost and make sure I understood it before I moved forward. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. That's enough reality for today. If you want something specific, ask me in the comments below. Meanwhile, thanks for staying till the end and stay sunny, San Diego.